Hi, actually with Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about an issue that doesn't really get much coverage, and I think it's quite important because in the globalist era, we've moved away from this, and particularly where straight white Christian males are supposed to interact with society, we've been detached from this idea of matching or cohorting together, grouping together people of similar sophistication. And I'm talking sophistication in the wider sense here of whether it be intellectual ability, good manners, commitment to the objectives of the organization, people that simply think that cooperation rather than confrontation is a better way of going about things, people who believe in the law and independent courts. I'm talking about overall levels of sophistication, of understanding how society works and how society can be made better or improved, and whether you want your fellow citizens to share in the bounty that society offers, and so on and so forth. Now, where you organize or plan or any formal setting, it's possible to put these sort of group people of sophistication, certain sophistication or status, it could be, together. And but in a random event, for example, the police officer that may pull you over for speeding or something like that, you can't get any chance of matching sophistication there between you. One may be a brutish troglodyte, and the other may be, an effete sort of. you can't get any matching there. But where it's possible, and say for example, I knew a lady that used to organise dinner parties, and you would say you're interested in the dinner party. She would then, she's very particular about this actually, she'd call you and ask about what your interests are, and she'd have a little chat and so on. And then she would earnestly try and invite dinner guests who are most likely to get on, and the basis for getting on was most likely to have, if not shared views, the ability to see someone else's point of view and to take a wider angle view of things. Well, that's an interesting point you've raised there. I hadn't thought about that. Rather than say, what, you don't believe in mass migration, you fucking Nazi. So she would make an effort to do that, and she was very pleased with herself to the point of self-congratulation, where she would say, well, all the dinner parties I have, I perfectly match all the guests to be of equal sophistication. Similarly, if someone's capable of talking about high-end philosophy, you don't want to invite someone who may only be a labourer digging holes in the road. The two aren't likely to get on or have much in common or much to talk about. So there are those type of things. Now, it's not just things in common, it's the ability for someone to think outside of their own narrow range or range of interests. And the broader someone's interests are, and the more widely read they are, and this sort of thing, the more likely they're able to entertain different points of view and have lively and interesting discussions and so on. And there's so many people that can do that, I suppose. But anyway, this lady did dinner parties for that, and she's a bit of a a bit of a snob and a social climber, I suppose. But she was very earnest in her attempts to get that. Now, I've noticed where my wife and I get invited to formal sort of situations where there's seating arrangements and so on. There's also quite an effort to sit people together who are of, again, that the likelihood of them getting on and having things to talk about and sharing particular views is considerable. But the ability to get on with people, as in, again, to see their point of view and to be able to understand without being intimidated or put out. If someone says, I think mass migration should concentrate more on skilled, you don't want someone to tell you, oh, you fucking Nazi. You don't want that. You want someone to say, well, that's interesting. What are your thoughts about such and such? And so it's good manners and being congenial. That's all part of the gig here. But putting people together who are able to matching sophistication. Now, it used to be the case that say in something like, I don't know, interviews for a job, for example, that you would be interviewed by someone who had done the job and who was skilled at it and had accomplished and achieved and created and everything within that area of expertise. And so you were talking to somebody like that. And if you were, say, it was a senior executive role, if you did have to interact with human resources, it would be the executive director of human resources. So all the while you'd be dealing with people at your caliber, at your level, and who themselves, typically at least, had accomplished things in their own right. This is very different today. So the person that rocks on up to be interviewed for like a VP's job could very easily be interviewed by a 19-year-old HR chick with attitude, who's got some sort of bullshit diploma from a fourth-tier college and has been told that the world is awash with Nazis and fascists and Hitlers and so on, and any straight white male over the age of 40 or something is Hitler. And so dealing with those sorts of things, people of minimal sophistication, ideological type education, where it's a brainwash education rather than trying to educate them for capability and knowledge and so on. And so this it's a very different sort of situation now. And just looking at and I mentioned this a few times before, and I've seen it around quite a bit, about a cleaning crew cleaning on the trains. There's a train station I sometimes go past where it's the interchange, where it's the end of the line, if you like, for that train, and then it does the turnaround to go back down the line. So when it reaches either end of the line, a cleaning crew comes on board. Now, the cleaning crew is made up of older, well, I don't know if they're all straight, but they look at older straight white men who'd be, they'd all be 50 plus. And some of them don't look like they're in such good health, but 50 plus. And they've got this Asian chick who thinks she's a fucking prison camp commandant, the way she barks out orders in broken English and threatens, "You do this for me, you I give you trouble, you not do for me," and all this sort of thing. And I listen to this, and you've got to be kidding. Who in their right fucking mind would employ her as a supervisor? And why would you match her with straight white men who all speak English perfectly, where she can barely put a sentence together? Why would you do that? Now that to me is a deliberate mismatching. Why don't they put an older straight white male in charge there? Why not? It would be easy to do. It wouldn't be hard. Do they want to humiliate these men? Do they want to openly and brazenly and publicly humiliate them? That they've got this I don't know, she'd probably be mid-30s or something. This Asian chick with drunk on power attitude, and give her white men to boss around. I mean, it's a wet dream for her. But I don't think it's realistic in any other sense. I mean, why would you do it? Why would you send your 19-year-old HR chick with attitude to interview your 50-year-old VP job applicant? Why would you even do that? You wouldn't even consider it. I certainly wouldn't. It would be the last thing I'd even think of. But this is the way I think the world is now, that the idea of putting together people of similar sophistication, capability, and now they can say, well, we want to break up the straight white male thing, so we want to put black lesbians or brown trans people in there, because that'll teach those fucking Nazis a lesson. But no, stop. What's wrong with putting a bunch of trans people together or a bunch of black lesbians together? Why not do that? They can all agree and get on and so on. But why do we have to engage in over promoting the most incompetent and the least capable in order just to humiliate and degrade the most capable and the most sophisticated? I don't. I mean, it's part of the destruction of Western society, and I've no doubt about that. But I think we need to. And hopefully the new Trump administration will be considering, in the wider context, will be considering these things. Once DEI and affirmative action and quotas and everything is done away with, there'll be a natural flow-on effect. but standards and capability, I think, urgently need to be restored. In pretty much every direction I look in, every business I do, we interact with in the business. I have a share in, if it's not affirmative action and DEI, I'm looking at it, it's incompetence as big financial institutions or governments, if you install their useless, flunky, hopeless, deadhead buddies into key roles on big bucks, many of them, and the effect on the economy, having all these low IQ, low caliber, never achieved a thing in their lives people, it's a very destructive effect on the economy, not only in new wealth creation, but in creating the next generation of people that are going to carry the Western societies and economies forward. I'll be interested in seeing your comments below anyway. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.